Masturbation was something that I always did. Even as when I was very young, like I was doing it into my adulthood. It wasn't until I was about 25, 26, I began to see that there was something wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? I would kind of be like, maybe I should slow up on this. Maybe I should stop doing this. But I didn't really have a good enough reason as to why, or have any real research, to back up why I should not do it. Especially it was around the time where everybody was normalizing masturbation. And I also was like going through this like spiritual journey and learning about manifestation and all this other crap, and learning how masturbation can be used as a tool to get the things that you want. I didn't do that, but I just felt like, women were openly accepting of it. So it was kind of like normal. It was normal. So it's like, whatever. Didn't see anything wrong with it. However, it got to a point where it started to affect my productivity throughout the day, or my productivity for that week, to the point where I had to limit myself as to when I was allowed to do it. And it was then that I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to have to like stop. For that, I never felt like it was an addiction. I never felt like it was a problem. Like, I just felt like I did it when I wanted to do it, and then I could go long periods of time without doing it again. But like I said, something around 25, 26 that kicked up, and I was doing it all the time. And I started doing a little bit more research on the negative effects of masturbation. And I'm going to link some of those articles below so you guys can read them if you're interested. The negative scientific effects that masturbation and porn has on you, how it can affect your relationships, your marriage, and your sexual experiences. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even know that was a thing. And then I started to look up why masturbation was bad in the eyes of the Lord. Like, what is it about masturbation specifically that God does not like? Why is it bad? Why is it considered sexually immoral? Like, and the more I read, the more I was like, oh, yeah, I got to give this up. Like, I got to give this up. And around this time, I had already given up. Or I think this was his... Yeah, I'd given up sex and I wasn't having sex anymore. And I told myself, I can't give up sex and still masturbate, because masturbation isn't anything but having sexual intercourse with yourself. And it was just like, it felt hypocritical of me. Like, yeah, I'm celibate, I'm abstaining from sex, but I'm still having sex with myself. Like, kind of defeats the purpose of my whole journey. At least to me. That's how it was for me. I wanted to give up all things that were sexually immoral. And I wanted to give up all things in my life that were pulling me away from God, period. And masturbation had to go. Like I said, by this time I had given up sex. So without masturbation, there's absolutely nothing going on. And also, like I said earlier, there were times where I could give up masturbation for long periods of time and be unfazed. The first attempt at me trying to give up masturbation, I was very surprised at what I was experiencing. I experienced major withdrawal. I experienced constant torment mentally and physically that lasted for about 3.5 weeks before I caved and masturbated again. And when I masturbated again, I was so ashamed and I was so upset with myself for folding and doing it again. I cried when I tried to give it up the first time, and I folded that in 3.5 weeks. I cried. And in that 3 weeks, I was enduring constant torment. Physically, it felt like my genitals were burning. Not like STI, STD infection burning, but it was just like this unreal burning sensation that just would not go away. And I can't even describe it, but burning is the closest thing that I can get to a description. It everything on me felt extremely sensitive. Like I couldn't sit still. I was sleeping with pillows in between my legs. I was trying to do any and everything that I could do to relieve myself without relieving myself in that way. And nothing was working. I even went to Google and said, you know, what are some of the things that happen to you when you experience withdrawal from masturbation? And it said, you're going to experience this, and that. And it said, because your body is so used to you giving it dopamine from that or whatever hormone that it wants you to replace it. So I said, oh, okay. So scientifically, if I replace it with something that's healthier for me, then I should be okay. So what is a good thing to replace it with? And working out was the number one thing you should do when you stop. And yeah, that didn't work. I worked out crazy multiple times a day in a day for weeks, and I got no relief. And I was just so sad, and I was just so upset that I just didn't know what to do. I was agitated. I was irritated, really snappy at the people around me, at my kids, just really just aggressive and just irritable. I also was seeing things in my mind, like seeing pornographic images, imagery. I was sitting in class and it felt like somebody opened my brain and had a bowl full of every sexual experience I've ever had, every pornographic video I've ever watched, and then some extra stuff in there, and was pouring it into my brain in that moment. And all I could see were pornographic images everywhere, even though I would try to shake it off like, oh my God, I could not get it out of my mind. And I was fighting it so bad, and I could not make my brain stop. I could not get rid of these images. I'm sitting in class trying to listen to what this professor is saying, and I can't because of what's going on in my mind and the things that I'm seeing around the room. I was fantasizing about people I've never been with. I was seeing visions of things that happened a long, long time ago that I totally forgot about. It felt like I had absolutely no control over my dreams. And I would always be so upset, so frustrated with what was happening to me mentally. I was having fantasies of having sex with people I didn't even want to have sex with. It was getting very, very weird as each day passed, to the point where I was like, yeah, this ain't normal. Something going on. Like, something's going on. This is not what Google explained. And Google told me, like, after about 2 weeks, you should be good. No, it just got worse and worse with each day, worse and worse with each week, to the point where I had no choice but to relieve myself, you know. And when I did, I felt so ashamed, and instantly those symptoms went away. The stuff in my mind, like the sexual images, stopped. The burning stopped. Every feeling of torment that I was experiencing stopped the moment I gave into it. And I just thought that was extremely weird. And then I started looking up some stuff on YouTube and asking a little bit more questions, because I was like, yeah, that was weird. The first time I gave it up, I did not throw away my sex toys. So I thought, if I throw them away this time, that it'll be easier for me to last, because I won't have access to the things that instantly gratify me, right? So I said, okay, I'm going to try this again. After I folded the first time, I gave myself some time to mentally and spiritually prepare myself to do it again. And when I was ready, I bagged up all my toys, put them in the trash the day before garbage day, so that in the morning they would be thrown in the trash, never to be seen again. Now looking back, I feel like that was the Holy Spirit urging me to throw them away, because the first time I didn't have an urge to throw them away. But this time the Holy Spirit was guiding me, throw them out. So I threw them out. And when I gave it up, I just knew I was about to be going through all that torment again. But this time, no, I wasn't. It was nowhere near as bad as it was the first time. And I said, okay, this is weird. Why am I not in agonizing torment, right now? But as time went on, I was being tormented in a different way. I was having sexual thoughts all the time, but it wasn't as intense as it was the first time, but it was still very annoying. It was just everything was just sex in my mind. And I had a very annoying tingling sensation in my genital area. Like, it wasn't the burning sensation this time, it was tingling, like, and it never stopped, like, and it was just so annoying. But I was able to ignore it for a very, very long time until ovulation time came 1 month, and it was so intense and it was so bad one night that I caved again, and I was just crying like, why can't I give this up? Why won't this stop? Why won't this stop? Crying, and I'm like, okay, this is my second attempt. This next attempt, that's it. We're not going back. Like, I don't want to go back. So then I started thinking to myself, like, this is very weird. Like, I know people have like addictions, but this is like more, it's, to me, in my spirit, I felt like it was more than an addiction. Like, I felt like there was something else going on here that was affecting my ability to give this up. Like, it was like something around me didn't want me to give this up. So I was like, yeah, started doing some more digging, started doing some more reading, started doing some more research, and came into some knowledge about some things that was a little cray-cray. As I was doing my research on this and came to the conclusion that spiritual warfare was what I was experiencing. Like, I'm experiencing spiritual warfare very intensely, right? And I was like, yo, this is something that I need to get in control of. And in order for me to overcome spiritual warfare, I need to learn how to pray and learn what prayers need to be said. I need to fast. I need to do all these things. So while I was researching, you know, spiritual warfare, different kinds of spiritual warfare, I came across someone named Isaiah Salvador. And it was very one specific video that was talking about deliverance, spiritual warfare, and demonic oppression. And I clicked on the video, not really knowing what to expect, just thinking like, oh, maybe he has some sound advice for me, some really good prayers for me. And that video blew my mind. And by the time it was done, I was just really sitting in my room like, I have a demon. I have a demon in me. This is a demon. This is why I can't give it up. This is why this has been so hard. This is why I've been attacked from every angle every time I try to give this up. Something that has never been a struggle for me, all of a sudden, I can't give it up. Like, now that I'm trying to give it up, it's a problem. Like, it all was starting to make sense. And I said, clearly, I'm gonna need deliverance. I'm gonna need outside help for this. This is something I can't do on my own. So immediately I started fasting. Like, I did a 7-day water fast, strictly water. Nobody told me to do this. I just felt like it was something I needed to do. And I was praying, and I felt like my prayers weren't working because I wasn't fasting. So I said, if I'm fasting and I pray, then it'll probably be more effective. And in a sense, they were more effective, but because of what I was dealing with, and there was a spirit actually in me, yeah, it wasn't gonna be that effective to the point where like it was gonna completely go away. On his website, there is something he has called the Deliverance Map, where it helps you find people who do deliverance and ministry near you, right? And I said, clearly, I'm gonna have to reach out to somebody to help me with this. I didn't tell anybody about this because I didn't want anybody looking at me crazy. I didn't want anybody trying to talk me out of it, because that's exactly what they would have done. I think the only person who knew about it was Rochelle, my best friend Rochelle. And she was the only person I talked to about it at the time. And I knew it was something that I needed to do. So I found this family, these people who are now very close to me, very dear to my heart, on the Deliverance Map. And they were only 15 minutes away from me. So I said, okay, cool, great. Emailed them. They got back to me really, really fast. And yeah, so I had my first appointment with them, my first session, and I was really nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know. I've never seen a demon manifest in a person before. I've seen some videos that I thought were fake and it wasn't real. I've seen some exorcism videos that were very scary, and that's what I thought deliverance was, or what it looked like. So I was really, really scared. They were asking me a lot of questions. It was a whole pamphlet that I had to fill out, get really, really descriptive. I had to put them all in my business and, you know, tell them things that even some of my friends and family don't know. And yeah, so that was crazy. And so my first session, I'm sitting in their living room and they get to praying and they get to asking me if I hear anything, do I feel anything? But in my mind, I'm hearing a bunch of voices in my head, a bunch of voices, but I thought it was me. I thought it was me, you know what I'm saying? And I'm hearing like, they not really believers. They full of crap. Just leave, you know, just go home. Like I'm hearing all these voices in my mind and I'm telling them what I hear. And I'm like, I just think that's me because I'm anxious and I'm nervous. And they said, nah, that's not you. And I'm like, and it started to make me question like, so these voices in my head aren't me? These aren't my thoughts either? Like at this point, I'm really spinning. So they get to praying over me and my sister in Christ now stops the deliverance. And they're like, nothing is happening because there's something that has not been done. And they go to God, they pray. And she said, God said you've been masturbating all week. And I was like, no, I haven't. And she was like, well, that's what he told me. And I'm like, well, I don't know who you was talking to, but he lying. Like, cause I ain't masturbated all week and I know because I've been in constant torment. If I masturbated, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And she was like, yeah, well, that's what he said. She said she went to him again and she prayed to him again. And he said, you still have a sex toy. And I said, no, the bloop, I don't. I threw all my stuff away. At this point, I'm getting mad at them because I'm like, y'all really finna sit here and waste my time? Like, I came to y'all for help and you're accusing me and calling me a liar. Like, they were basically saying like, you've been masturbating, but remember what I said. I told y'all that I was having dreams and visions of me masturbating at night and having sex every night. But I wasn't actually masturbating, but in my dreams I was. And so I'm sure that's what he was referring to. Now that I know what I know now, I'm pretty sure that's what God was referring to. And she said I still had a sex toy left. And I said, I don't have a sex toy left. He said, you have specifically one left. So of course they said, we can't continue the deliverance until you find that sex toy and throw it away and you stop masturbating. And I was pissed. I had absolutely no intention on ever seeing those people again. And I was like, I hope they delete my number and they never reach out to me again. Because I'm sitting here like, I know I ain't did this. Like, you know how infuriating that is to give up something that you've been struggling with and been tormented by for such a long time just to seek help from somebody that's supposed to help relieve you and then be accused of the very thing that you gave up. I was infuriated. I was really discouraged and kind of heard this voice in my head that was kind of like, yeah, you see what happened there? You might as well just go ahead. You might as well just go ahead and start masturbating again because like they called you a liar and they couldn't help you. So you might as well just keep on doing what you've been. Literally, that's the voice in my head telling me that. And at this point, I know that I can't trust my own thoughts. And I'm like, yeah. So anything that I think, I'm just kind of like brushing it off. Anything that's not focused on God and the mission I was trying to do, I kind of just ignored it because I knew it wasn't me at this point. There was a bin in my room, like these tubs in my room that were very irritating to me. Like they were taking up space in my room for one, but there was just something that was really, really irritating me about those bins that I said, I'm gonna just clean them out and put them downstairs. That's what I find, y'all. Just guess. A sex toy. The sex toy that the lady was talking about. I found it. And I was like, I felt really salty. I was salty because I had convinced myself that lady was a liar, that she was lying on me and that she was just lying just to find that sex toy. And I was like, in cave, I took it, put it in a plastic bag, took the charger, threw it in the dumpster outside. And the spirit in my room felt lighter. Like my room felt lighter. And the mental torment I was experiencing immediately got better. Like the moment I threw that sex toy out of my house. And I was kind of like aware now of what was going on with me. I knew that this was spiritual warfare and demonic oppression. So I knew, like, yeah, I know what this is now. So I'm not caving. Like, I'm not giving up. Like, I know that you're there. Like, I know you're here. I know this isn't me doing this, but it's up to me to not give into it, because if I give into it, I'm giving you power and I'm taking my power back. From that point on, I never went back to masturbating again, and I started seeking deliverance. Eventually those people reached out to me again and said they wanted to go forward with the deliverance process, because God put it on their heart to reach out to me after I threw that sex toy away. But I hadn't told them about the sex toy yet, so I knew this was God. At this point, I knew this was God. And this person was heavy on my mind for a while, but I just refused to reach out because I was so stubborn and I was so upset at the last experience that I had in their home. And I did not want to reach out to them. But they reached out to me because God knew I wasn't going to do it. He knew I wasn't going to do it. After experiencing that and finding that toy that she was talking about, it allowed me to build some type of trust with those people again. Because at this point, I knew that they weren't BSing me. I knew that they weren't lying. And when she said, you've been masturbating all week, she didn't actually mean you've been masturbating all week, but she probably meant like, yeah, you've been having sexual dreams and giving into them in the spirit realm all week is what she meant. So yeah, I was able to build some type of trust, and I knew at that point they were legit. And I feel like God allowed that to happen so that I could trust them and not doubt them, and knew to show me that, yeah, these people really do work for me. Like they do really do my work. So after that, I was able to go forward with my deliverance process. So it's been about 5 months now since all of this took place. And I have not felt urged to do it. I still do think about it from time to time, but I do not feel compelled. Like the spiritual part of it is being dealt with, and I'm not struggling anymore. And I know what it was. I know what it was, and God revealed so much to me about this. And when I gave it up, I realized that how much masturbation was affecting my relationships, how much it was affecting my sex life, how much it was affecting my ability to connect with my partners. Like not even just on a sexual level, but on a spiritual, mental level. I realized how much porn and masturbation affected my expectations of my partners that was unrealistic. How it made me view people as like not people. Like, I don't even really know how to describe it, but it's crazy like how brainwashed I was into believing that this is beneficial to me when really it was harming me. And it took for me to go through this to realize everything is spiritually connected. Things that we go through, these sins, these addictions, like masturbation, sex, alcohol, whatever it is, gluttony, whatever it is, be bigger than us sometimes. And that's why we can't ever seem to overcome it, because we're addressing it ourselves and we're trying to figure it out ourselves, when really sometimes the only way things can be solved is through Christ and through people that he sends to help you fight. Okay. Anytime something is happening to me now, I always question it. Is this spiritual? Is it spiritually connected? And usually it always is. Without God and without other people, other believers, people working for him, I would have never been able to give this up. I would have kept slipping. I would have kept falling back into temptation. I would have kept, trying to figure this out and failing if I didn't turn to God to help me fix this. Because before, I wasn't seeking God. I was just trying to give it up because God felt it was wrong, but I wasn't seeking him to help me deal with it. You feel what I'm saying? I was just trying to stop because I know God wanted me to, but I wasn't seeking him to help me stop. I just felt like that was up to me. But sometimes things that are happening to us are beyond us, and you need to call reinforcements. Like, God is your reinforcer. So when things like this arise, he gonna help you, and he helps me, and he sent people to me, put people in my life to help me deal with this. And I've been delivered from this. You know what I'm saying? This is no longer something that I'm being tormented by. One of those people who use my experiences to encourage others and let them know that it is possible to overcome these things with Christ. It is possible to let these things go. These things don't have to hinder you. These things don't have to have you in bondage. You don't have to be a slave to sin. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can let this go. I did it. So I know you can do it. Like, and if you're watching this video all the way to the end, then I know that it's probably something that you've struggled with or are currently struggling with. And I hope that this video be a blessing to you. You know what I'm saying? And that it encourages you to keep trying, that it encourages you to keep going, that it encourages you to seek God for help, and that you call on him to help send reinforcements, because, man, this battle is bigger than us. This battle that we are experiencing is bigger than us, okay? It's bigger than us. And God had to let me know exactly what I was dealing with and what was going on. And then I had to put my armor on and get ready to fight this. Like, you're not going to keep me in bondage. You're not going to keep me doing this. You're not going to keep me in this lie, this life that's killing me. Because what's the wage of sin? Death. You're not about to kill me. I have things to do. God had some things that he needed to reveal to me about the spirit. Because imagine if I gave this up and I wasn't tormented and I didn't experience the things I experienced, and I was just able to give it up. I wouldn't have been able to give God credit for that. I would have just been like, oh yeah, I gave it up. That was easy. God wouldn't have got the glory in that. So I'm grateful that he allowed things to unfold the way they did. But trust me, if you mess up, it's okay. Start again. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't feel like you should stop, trying because you can't seem to give it up. Fully seek God. Very mindful of what you absorb throughout the day, because the enemy is tricky and he don't play fair. Like, I promise I'm going to have a video at a later date that goes more in depth about spiritual warfare, demons, how that works, and things like that. So be prepared and stay tuned for that. I hope this video was encouraging to you, and that it reached whoever it was meant to reach, and whoever was meant to hear it was able to hear it. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button for me, and I'll see you guys next time.